Good day to you my fellow endoskeletons, I'm Kenetor and welcome back to another Starbase progress report. This is week 10 of 2022 and if you're new here, I bring you the latest news and updates of everything Starbase every week. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss out. Now let's get to it. It's been a month since the last live branch patch, but today resets the clock as it gets a nice big round of bug fixes and minor features added. Most notably the new tractor beam device, and finally, the ability to rename our stations. This one simple feature can really help those companies that operate clusters of stations with more than one per player, especially in the Moonbelt, where having no player GPS can lead you to getting turned around or heading to the wrong station. There's also a lot of new furniture added for stations which you can unlock via the station tech tree, so be sure to check your trees for these new additions. And even the Moon City got its first ever update on the live branch, with its ship designer and anti-gravity areas being turned on. This patch also brings us to parity with the PTU, minus major features which are still a work in progress. So there's no longer a massive download to switch between the two. For the PTU, new capital ship beams are also in, so if you're testing caps then update your designs for a lower object count. Once again, Larry is AWOL from talking to the community, having moved on from his Tibetan retreat, where his contemplation over adding easy build mode has led him to attempt the Klingon rite of ascension, for which he hopes will finally let himself admit the true error of his ways. Should he survive the pain stick treatment, he could possibly back to talk to us next week. Jumping into the gallery this week, we kick off with a work in progress shot of more deco paneling, with some paint example. I really like the way these parts are made to fit the lights too. It's a nice touch that helps tie the two different sets together. The second image is more of the same, but this time with various wall panels added in as well. This sort of stuff is giving me hope that we can rid ourselves of the horrid boxy look of easily bugged mode modules. They may work okay for an exterior, but interiors really needed this much better look, and it helps bring things in line with some of the prefab buildings we see around Origin. Xalium gets its turn for a texture revamp, but for me this is still too close to Exorium in colour with a very similar look, and given how dark Starbase is most of the time, it'll be hard to tell the difference between the two, especially at a distance. Next up, even more detail to add to your caps and stations, this time in the form of structural elements, and I definitely can't wait to use these. And it's not just the core resources that are getting a facelift, asteroid surface materials are getting one too. However, given the detail on this one, this may be for the Titan asteroids rather than the standard ones, but we will have to wait and see for this. Lastly, I'm adding two of my own screenshots captured on today's patch. These are of the new station building HUD. This look is a bit nicer than what we had before. It does still have floating text which can be hard to read a lot of the time, but it's a step in the right direction. And the new capship HUD is very much more of the same thing. And both of these HUDs incorporate the new custom name that you can now apply to. This week is a general progress report, so here are the recently completed features. New item categories and sorting. This is pretty much exactly what it says on the tin and helps reorganize somewhat with all the new stuff coming in. Capturing station's capital ship. This one is brand new and covers the situation where you have an unfinished capital ship in a dock of a captured station. The capital ship will now also be transferred to the new owner. Saving blueprints outside of ship designer and easily bug mode is done! Rejoice, as this is the second key part for fixing your ships back to exactly how you want them. This has taken a whopping 22 weeks to implement and lets you save the current state of the ship into the ship's blueprint itself. The last screenshots we were shown while they were working on this one is that the ship will have up to 3 saved states, and I believe you pick when restoring it which one you want to use. Additional chat log feedback in build mode. Another simple addition to keep players informed when building caps and stations. Capital ship and station size classes. These have now been finalised and come into play with sieges. The bigger the defender, the bigger the attacker has to be, and thus the more resources put on the line when attacking. Teams and outsider players. Another part of sieges is complete. This is needed to properly assign people to teams so that winners and losers can be determined. Station area validity, and another siege part again here with only valid areas being used in capture or defense in a siege. And finally, transponder signals for company ships. This fixes the bug introduced with company ships not technically having a discrete owner anymore and breaking the transponder. Jumping into the new features started recently, and we have improved carrying animations. Chose an object count UI. I'm not quite sure what this one's supposed to do based on its description, because I thought the hotbar already showed how many parts we have left when building in EBM. Hopefully we can get a bit more clarification on what this exactly does. Increased range for copying objects in build mode. By hovering over an object when in build mode, you can choose to copy the object, which acts like a quick select for parts you have already used. This can be great if you're working with lots and lots of different objects and don't want to have to constantly change your hotbars. Reset pop-up hints option is up next and might well be useful for any player coming back after a break to reacquaint themselves with the game. And our last newly started feature is yet again another oversight from the move to easily bug mode, and something that was possible back in closed alpha but never in early access, and that is to claim resigned stations. I can see this mostly being used by salvagers who would take the time to dismantle old stations, or by anyone who may have accidentally resigned the wrong station, which is all too easy to do when they are all named the exact same thing. And in fact, I know people that have avoided abandoning stations despite wanting to, exactly because you could do the wrong one and never get it back. So this could be quite useful for some people. And that's it, you're all caught up for this week's Starbase news. Don't forget to come drop by my Discord or chip in to support the channel via donor box or YouTube memberships. All my monthly supporters are listed at the end of my videos, and all get access to a support channel on my Discord and my eternal gratitude. As always, please do smash that like button, share the video with your friends and faction, leave a comment with any questions you want answers to, and I'll see you in the next one. Kenetor, out.